And welcome to another episode of Don't Get This Twisted. I am the professor, and I am here with my co-host, Tina. How are you doing today, Tina?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, absolutely, positively awesome. Well, today we're going to jump right into something that I think most people don't talk about anymore, but I think it's in the back of everyone's mind. Our bucket lists. For all of us that are getting older, we want to try to have a little bucket list of things to hit before we drop dead. And I think we have them either written down or in the back of our mind. And I think that it's kind of a weird thing that people don't think about that these days, whether if you're 20 to 50, and obviously if you're in your 70s and 80s, you're trying to hit things before you move on to the other side. So for me, it's kind of an up in the air thing. I would go from you though and see, like, I know we talked about it earlier off air. What are some things that you're looking at to do before you're either you die, obviously, or
Can't move.
or can't do them? Correct.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, one of the things that I've always wanted to do, and for whatever reason have not been able to, is go on a hot air balloon ride. They have these amazing balloon festivals where 50, 60, 100, I don't even know how many air balloons are up in the air. And I've always wanted to do that. So that would be definitely one that I would keep on my bucket list. And I am going to make sure I get that one done. Actually, I want to make sure I get all of these done. So
I think the hot air balloon thing is kind of cool. I probably couldn't do it. I have a small fear of heights. So being way up in the air would probably not be a good idea for me. I'd probably just lose my shit. But who knows? I mean, it's one of those things that might be good for me. I'm not a big roller coaster fan, and I've done that, within the last couple of years just to try to break that.
that fear.
Yeah, fear. I mean,
I love roller coasters. I took my niece and nephew to Magic Mountain a couple years ago, and it was in between Christmas and New Year. It was actually their Christmas gift. And I hadn't been there in so long. I didn't know what any of the rides did. So I went on every single one of them, having no expectation. I got to tell you, they scared the crap out of me, though. There were so many. There's so much more than they ever were before. But not knowing what I was getting on was the best thing ever, because I got on the ride. I wasn't afraid. We had a good time. And then when I got off, I was like, holy crap, did we just do that? So it was that was fun for me. I enjoyed that too.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I think that those are things that we have to do either with other people or by ourselves. Is, again, a small bucket list. It doesn't even have to be this extravagant thing like where you're spending tons of money. I don't think that that's the big thing in this. It's about doing what it is you want to do, whether if it costs you a crap ton of money or literally just a ride down the street.
Yeah. No, I get you. So what's one of yours?
I would like to travel to Ireland and Scotland.
Okay.
It's my background. I'm English and Irish and Scottish and a few other countries over there. So I think that would be something I'd like to do just because it's my heritage and it's a beautiful country. I'm not a big traveler, but at least not foreign, like domestically I've traveled within the States, but I think I would want to do that just to kind of see the homeland. And I love the accents, and I think it would be cool just to go there and sit in a pub and listen to people that obviously are way different than us.
Right.
It's a big thing too. Or that I don't know if you know, I love English movies, and it would be cool to see real English people. I have friends here that are from England, and it's not the same. And even they say that they're real, but they're not real. They've been Americanized, and they make fun of themselves of being Americanized.
Okay.
Like, they even told me, they're like, oh, we were different people because you're around people like you that are from the same kind of cities or stuff, because England's a very bizarre thing where it comes to accents and they're regional. Like you can go 5-8 miles away from a certain town and you have a different dialect, a different accent. It's kind of like the Middle East. The Middle East is very much like that.
Okay.
What about you? What else? What's on your bucket list?
So since this is a new one for me, because I never had any intentions on really traveling outside the United States. There's so many things to do here. And I do a lot of traveling here in the United States, but I want to live in either Greece or Italy for an extended amount of time. So that's something I've been mulling around a lot lately, that I think may be a good thing for me, just to get a different atmosphere, get a different look on life. And those places have always interested me. I don't know why, but they have. So I'd like to maybe go and spend some time out there.
Greece, from what I understand, is very pretty. One of my daughters said it's just beautiful. They're in Spain.
Yeah.
I also think, like you said, living within a different culture might be cool. And again, you might hate it, but at least you can say you've done it.
Well, considering I live maybe 2 miles from where I was actually born, not getting out to that degree and sitting in the same type of situation. And even, just being in the United States, like there's a familiarity to it. So I think going to a different country would be, I don't know, I may totally hate it, because who likes to change that much? But I think if I just embraced it and went for it, I may not come back. I don't know.
That's again, you're right. That might be true. You might end up having such a great experience that you're right, you don't want to come back, which is, I think, something for everyone. Moving in general is a big thing. I think, being trapped sometimes within your own mind of not traveling or not moving. Some people won't move to the city next to them. Nevertheless, a city 5 hours away or another state.
Right.
I moved to Vegas for a couple of years, which was for me a big deal, because I was very much a consistent. I don't want any change. Don't do this. Don't change that.
Creature of habit. I
was a creature of habit. I still am, but when it comes to moving, I don't care now.
Nice.
That move to Vegas definitely changed me that way. Can't be afraid. There's no reason to be afraid.
No.
What's the worst thing that can happen?
I have to come back.
That's it. I mean, it might be hard for California. I was lucky. I was really lucky that I was able to leave and come back, because most people who leave California never come back.
Yeah. Well, it's not that it can't be done. It's just a little bit harder to do. So
financially, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Because you have to come back to the same kind of job so you can pay the insane rent that is here in the state.
I hear you. Okay, your turn. What's your next one?
Mine's probably more simple than it is anything. I think it's just life experiences. Like, I've never been overly super romantic with people. I want to do things like stargaze and like maybe go up on a big hill or a big mountainside and just experience life in a quiet, just a quiet place and not so city like, because I've lived in the city and I was surrounded by mountains in California, and I really haven't been to many. Maybe Big Bear, but that would probably be it. But I think again, maybe an extended stay in a cabin somewhere on a lake where you don't care about your phone anymore, at least for a little bit, even if it was a week, to kind of get away from life in a cabin with water and no other human beings besides the people that are loved ones next to you.
That's nice. As far as stargazing, I don't know if you know this, but every August is like a meteor shower month. And if you go up to the local mountains, go to Devil's Punch Bowl, it is so dark out there you can't see your hand in front of your face. And my ex and I would go up there, and we'd take our daughter's friends, and we would park the car in the parking lot at Devil's Punch Bowl and sit out there and watch the meteor showers. And if you haven't done that, you really should do that. You see so many. It's not like you're going to miss one. It's completely dark. You sit up there. There's no one around. You bring a picnic if you want to, and you just stay up all night and watch the stars. That's a good time. Turn on a little bit of music if you'd like, but it's so secluded that, you're pretty much on your own, at least just for a night. And it's not far. You could go do that if you wanted.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I know that's out like Lancaster area, right? Off 126.
Yeah. Pear Blossom.
Yeah. Somewhere out there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not 126. You're right. Pear Blossom Highway.
Yep. But that's a really good night. I know we're not in the month of August, but I try to do that every year. This was the first year I wasn't able to get anybody to go with me. And it's so dark. I wasn't going to go out there and sit by myself. Plus it was very hot, and I'm not about hanging out where the rattlesnakes are, which you would be if you're out in the middle of August. But
yes, and that's pretty far from where we are.
It's a drive. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not right around the corner. It's far from me.
Yes, it is further for you.
What else you got?
So this is another, since I've decided to be single, I'm going to buy a motorcycle.
Oh, what?
I have always wanted a motorcycle. I remember when I was really young, one of my mother's friends had a brother that owned a Harley, and he used to take me on the back of the Harley. And back in the day, we didn't even wear shoes when he'd take us for a ride. We'd get on the bike with him. We'd go to the store. We'd come back. Coolest thing ever. Fast forward to when I was out of high school, had a boyfriend that had a bike. He used to pick me up around the corner from where I lived because there was no way my mom would let me get on a motorcycle. And he'd pick me up and we'd go drive through Canaan Road and just go through the hills to the ocean, and great time. Fast forward to now, or actually let's fast forward to about 20 years ago when I decided that we were going to take in my daughter that I adopted. My then husband said, "You got a kid, no motorcycle for you." So that blew those chances back in those days. And now I'm looking at it going, okay, now if I'm living life for me, maybe I want a motorcycle. And so I've been thinking about that a lot. And I think it's going to be one of those things that has to happen. And I'm going to have to get a Harley, a little one, because those things are beastly. But yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah, that's not what I was thinking I'd hear. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, again, not for me, but I think that, again, that's pretty cool. I mean, I'm not a fan, but I understand why people like motorcycles.
It's the freedom for sure, you know?
Yeah, I have a friend who lives in South Carolina, and he loves them. Like, he just gets on his and rides and rides and rides.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool.
It's running without running away, I think. So for me, just the freedom of it, the I don't know, just the freedom of it. It's always been very appealing to me.
That makes sense. I mean, you're right. It's getting on something, you're feeling the air. It's different than a car adventure, obviously.
Or like, you know, when you get in your car and you're driving on a road that's got a bunch of peaks and valleys to it, and you drive as fast as you can. So when you hit the top of the hill, you kind of launch your car off of the cement. It's kind of that feeling. It's kind of, you're just free. You get to go and just be free. So yeah, I'm all about that lately.
I do have one that's quite bizarre because I really don't like the water, but I would love to go in a cage with sharks. I'm deathly afraid of the water and sharks, obviously, but I think it would be cool to go. Like, there's a place down in Mexico that big whites, like 14 to 20 foot fish. I think that would be really kind of neat. And I think because it's one thing that you definitely don't want to happen while you're in the water.
Right.
So,
no, I thought about putting that on my bucket list because and also swimming with dolphins would be another one, just because they're just so cool and we don't know as much as we could about them. But I don't think I'd ever really pursue that, going swimming with sharks.
Yeah, I mean, I want to stay in a cage, obviously, but yeah, the dolphin thing's pretty cool. My daughter did it when we were in Cancun. I mean, obviously in a pool, not out in the ocean, but it was definitely pretty neat to watch her being thrown around with these things.
Yeah, the dolphins I would definitely do and pursue. The shark, it may just stay on a bucket list somewhere.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. What else you got?
So since I turned 18, that was the first time I left California. Since then, I've traveled to a lot of states, and I would like to hit all 50 states at least once. I think I'm more than halfway. I'm definitely more than halfway there. And I just want to go and finish that journey. There's so much to see. And even the states that I visited, I haven't seen all that much. But just to say that I've been to all 50 and I actually took a step on that soil and just kind of looked around, I think that's a cool thing. And there's so much in the United States to see, and it's so different from one place to the next that if you don't go and look at everything, it's just such a waste.
I mean, I think we've all visited states where you were there for either a stopover or driving through and really never stopped, that kind of thing. I've been to several states as well, and it's just kind of the same thing where you've been there, you go to a certain city, do your thing, and then get out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think bucket lists are still a big thing with people?
I don't know. I don't think that people write it out for sure that I see, but I know there's always things in the back of our head that we want to do. And I don't think they go away. I think they kind of stay there, and you visit the thought every now and again, and you either make an effort to do it or you don't, but it's still bucket list material. It's still something that you want to pursue at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, I find it to be more obviously an age thing. As you get older, I think your bucket list gets bigger because you don't have time.
I was thinking about that because I had a bunch of notes from when I was a teenager, and there was a bunch of things on those notes of things I wanted to do. It wasn't necessarily called a bucket list back then. I just wrote down things that I wanted to do in my life. And then when I went back to them, there was like maybe 7 left. So I feel like I'm living the life that I wanted by doing the things that I set out to do. So my bucket list has gotten smaller over the years after taking a look at those notes.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I've hit a couple of my bucket lists, and mine were more younger things. Mm-hmm. Obviously, like when I was really young, it was, hey, get in a wrestling ring. Like just get in one. Then from getting one, it was, hey, maybe I can have a match somewhere. Next thing you know, I had a match somewhere. Next thing you know, it's be a pro wrestler. And I've already hit that. So that was kind of cool. Publish a book. I've done that. That's kind of cool. Um, obviously with this now start a podcast. I had an idea of doing this months and months and months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't find the right person to host it with me.
And then
lo and behold,
you had me right under your nose.
Exactly. Not knowing that you would have done it.
Oh my gosh, had I been asked this months ago, we would have been doing this, because I find that this is a really cool thing. So it's
a great outlet for sure. And I think that if we can even shake someone's tree and get an apple to fall and give them an idea or let them have an opinion, like we have a lot of things that we have bucket lists for this show.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way of putting it. We have where we want to go with it and what we want to do. We're going to have interviews with people, have people on. The show will obviously change. So we have bucket lists within a bucket list. Kind of funny.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky.
It's a plan.
Exactly. I've done some things that were on my bucket list as a younger man. So I'm glad I got to do a couple of those, because some people will, again, say they want to be something and really never do it. With wrestling, I can say that I got to do it, and I got to wrestle big names that are people that are in the Hall of Fame and a couple other things. So I'm lucky. My knees and back are not great from it, but at least I had that.
Yeah, that was something that was so much your passion, though. You needed to do that, despite the fact that your back's messed up or your knees aren't the greatest. Like you lived for that, and that made you happy. And it was fun watching you go through that.
Yeah, it's funny that, you knew me in high school where I was already a wrestling fan.
When you were jumping off of things onto mattresses in someone's backyard.
Exactly. Before there was a thing like backyard wrestling, before that was even a thing. We were doing that long before that. So, but it's cool. I mean, so like I said, my bucket list has already been fulfilled a little bit. Yes, there's always going to be something that I want to add to that, but my bucket list is probably much smaller than most people. Yeah.
So are those the only things you have on your bucket list, or are there still a couple more?
No, I think that's really about it. Mostly because mine are like find ways to happiness. Mine's more, and I hate to say zen-y, but it's really kind of just what's going to make me happy within this small thing. Yes, there's my bucket list will get bigger, I think, within finding someone else. Like, I'm single, so it's kind of nice to be where I'm at right now, but my bucket list will change as I meet somebody, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's it, because I'm going to want to do what they do within that. But I think my bucket list is really kind of travel, really more than anything.
Yeah. One of the places that I will go before I die also is Australia. I don't know how I'm going to get there, because sitting in a plane drives me nuts, but I do want to go to Australia, and I want to go all through the continent and just see. There's so many things there to see. You could spend months there too, but That's I really true. Would like to go and do that. And
hopefully
again,
there'll be a free country by then.
Right?
They're not right now. That place is becoming a very socialist, scary country.
I think life is becoming a very socialist, scary place in
That's
general.
True, but at least here we still have some freedoms. They're shutting people down there. But I agree. I think Australia would be a fun place to go. New Zealand, another nice country. But you're right. That's a hell of a airplane ride.
Yes. I'm going to have to take some pills and just knock out for hours on end, because I start to get kind of whiny when I'm on a plane for that long. I just want to hit something and get off the plane. So I have to see how to do that.
What else is on yours?
Well, also too, we were talking about writing books, and I've been inspired and have been working on quite a few different ideas. So I seem to be writing a lot more these days. And I too want to publish a couple of books. I've got ideas. I'm writing them down. I'm logging them in. I'm going for it. I got nothing but time right now, since life is the way it is. So I'm really working at, creating these things and making the rest of my life easier. So the book is another thing.
Books are fun. It's a great outlet to get things out of your mind.
Yeah.
For me, it's super therapeutic. So I would definitely say jump in with both feet. Don't even stick your toes in and twinkle them. Like literally just jump in feet first and start writing.
Yeah.
Because you're going to end up with this massive book of papers and bad writing and scratched out things that's going to end up this really cool personal adventure that other people are going to get to kind of explore with you. At least that's how I feel about my writing. I do poetry, so it's not the same, but it's definitely part of me. If you read my poems, you're definitely going to get a piece of who I am as a human.
Right. No, for sure. I've read them.
It's interesting.
I write the way that I talk. So when I'm talking to a friend and I'm telling a story is exactly how I'm putting it down on paper. And if nothing else, it should be entertaining because I like to tell a story and I like to embellish in ways, but I also like to be really honest with who I am and my feelings. And being on a podcast is it's a very insecure feeling for me because everything that I say, I'm going to have to own. Now, obviously, when you say something, you have to own it anyway. But if somebody doesn't like my views or opinions, that's going, and there's somebody that I value who they are, that could be an issue. So this being raw and being real, or at least telling my story, has been extremely therapeutic, but also very, it's a scary road to be this open and honest with things.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, people mostly these days will come back on you for that. Which yes. I hope we don't. I mean, obviously, this is a show of opinions, and this is our opinions on bucket lists. This is just, it's no different. It's just a look into someone else's mind. I believe that these are, again, small bucket lists. We have, my bucket list was to get this going, got it going. Now my next bucket list is something different. They are goals to a certain extent, but it's still putting these things in motion. And that's what we're talking about. Your book is a bucket list. Mm-hmm. It's just one that you've done recently. It wasn't one that you had as a younger person. Now it's something that has,
it's come with time.
Yeah. Has a fire in you now, which is great.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. And I think that fulfilling those bucket lists are also going to be that, you'll have a book that you can have in Greece.
Hey.
That's where you're going to sit and write it.
Maybe.
Those are the things as well. You can mix these things together. That's the best part about this life, that we're trying to do something before it's too late, or where we can't travel, or we don't feel like doing it.
There's one more that I had, because again, I looked at old notes because I just happened to have them of stupid things that I had kept. And the last one on my bucket list is kind of embarrassing to tell you, but I'm just going to say it because we all know that my brain doesn't always work as it should, but everybody thinks the things that I do. So I'm just going to say it. So oh, dang.
Whoops.
When I'm talking to my friends and we've drank a little too much and we are being a whole bunch of wrong, I always said that one day I was going to find a young guy and teach him everything I knew and give him the whole Mrs. Robinson experience. That's
pretty funny.
That's going to probably stay on the bucket list because I don't know that I have the balls to do that. But if I do, there's somebody that's going to be very, very lucky.
I mean, there's a lot of landmines with that one, though. There's a lot of landmines that you could get in trouble with. But yeah, no, I get it. I mean, again, you're just going to you're both getting something out of it.
Well, one could only hope. We'll see.
Yeah. So I looked up something just for giggles and shits. Okay. On doing a simple bucket list. I'm going to throw some of the ideas on here that I find are kind of interesting just for simple things. One's adopt an animal. I think that's kind of interesting.
I've done that 1,000 times.
Volunteer at a shelter.
I've done that.
Throw a surprise party for a friend.
Done that.
Here's something that's kind of an interesting one that I would do one part, but not the other. It says try skinny dipping.
Ooh, I like that.
And take it one step further. Take pictures while you're skinny dipping.
Okay, I've done that.
Yeah, that is definitely not me. Nope. No. And then let's see. Summer bucket list ideas. Try paddleboarding. Go picking berries. That's kind of an interesting one. Go to a fair. Act like a kid again. That's every day for me. Go to a concert. I already do as many of those as I can.
Love concerts.
Thankfully, I have a kid that can go with me, and I take him in the pit and do my best to still feel young. Here's one: host a family reunion. That's kind of an interesting one.
I've done that. That's not easy.
No, I don't know if I could do that either. You know, I love my family to death, but there's a whole lot of stuff that comes with doing something like that.
There's a whole lot of family to it.
Yes, that's very much true. Very much true. So let's get to the whole scheme of like bucket lists in general. I asked you earlier, do you think it's something that is still big today? Do you think that this is something that's going to keep going? Do you think younger people, because it's up to us to teach them, or to have someone keep saying, hey, you need to do this before you die, and it's called a bucket list? Because I think that may be something that younger people don't even know about. I can't even tell you that I've talked to my son about it.
I think it's just something that you start to think about as you're getting older, or as you're watching your parents age, or someone that's close to you. When you see people aging and dealing with life and its struggles, and it's all the good and all the bad, I believe that people look at things that they didn't get done that they want to do, and they start to do them. And I believe that just from kids being around us and seeing that drive, they'll pick it up too. But I think it's even more than that. I think it's just a time thing. As you get older, you're going to think of things that you want to do, and they will too. I think it's kind of inherent in us.
Do you think we should really make sure that younger people know about this kind of thing? Like still tell the story of the bucket list, not just let them find out later on that there's something. Should we continue to go, you have to have a bucket list as you get older, or think about a bucket list as you get older?
Maybe not so much have a bucket list, but live. Like a lot of the things that you said, we're neck and neck with things that we want to do. Also, there's things on the bucket list that you do. I guess the message is, if you're living, live. Do these things, like step out of your comfort zone, try something new. Don't say no to everything. Don't say no to life, especially, because I think that life is so short, and us as a society, we spend so much time working that we don't look to see how to be happy. And I think that being happy is part of being, doing things and being a part of life, and not just letting it pass by.
Correct. I think you hit it again pretty hard on the head, is that a bucket list is just living.
Yes.
We should have a bucket list that starts in our 20s and ends when we die. You should
Absolutely.
always be trying to fill this bucket list, or fill the cookie jar full of marbles, or whatever it is. You should always have that. I love the idea of maybe putting a cookie jar with a bunch of random paper on you and your friends or your mate, and you write down all these things that you want to do with each other. Mm-hmm. Again, whether it's your friend or your spouse or your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, write all these things down, throw them all in there, and then every other weekend, pull one out and see if you can't make that happen.
And it's all about making moments to where you could just look at things and say, yeah, we're enjoying ourselves. This is what living is. Living is not going to work every day, sitting in traffic, coming home in traffic. It's not about that. Living is doing something that makes you happy or fills your heart or makes you have memories. It's making memories.
Yeah. And I think that your bucket list will always make memories.
Oh, my bucket list will always make memories.
Exactly. Because I think at the end of the day, you're going to remember these things when your body can't get out of the house every day, when you can't reach for this or can't do that. You're going to look back on these small memories that are only going to be the only thing that keeps you happy currently.
Yes. That was one of the things that one of my clients taught me before she passed. She said to me, she goes, I lived my life exactly how I wanted to. Now I'm looking at my life saying that might not have been such a great idea, but better to it not have been a great idea to and never have happened.
For sure. Who wants what ifs? Nobody wants a what if.
Not on your deathbed, you don't.
Not even now.
I agree.
I don't want a what if. I don't want to say, well, what if I just did this? Or what if I just did that? It's like, just do it. And the consequences will either be good or bad. As long as you know it's not going to kill you, then take a chance. Because I don't want to have this what if or my bucket list at the end and go, yeah, I had a chance to do this, this, and this, but I didn't because I was scared, or I didn't want to move across the country, or I didn't do this. I have a friend who just moved across the country. She moved from Orange County to North Carolina. Job was there. It was a good thing for her to do. But I think more than ever, it was just time to do something new. And she is very much a scheduler and a to the point person. And for the first time, I saw her just go, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do it. If I fail, I fail. Because you only live once. And that's awesome. Because most of us don't.
Right. You know, I've noticed people that stay in marriages because I'm getting divorced. I'm hearing stories about people that have been married for a long time. And I'm looking at them, hearing their story about how they're so miserable in life, but yet they won't make a change, or they're fearful, or they're afraid, or they're stuck. And they don't want to, I don't know, blow the lid on the facade that they've been happy. I don't really know what it is, but even in getting divorced, this is still something that took a lot of, I had to really be brave to do this. Like, this isn't something for the weak of heart. When you stay in one position and when you don't do something because you're afraid, that's the worst part of it. That's where regret tends to live the most. And not that I'm saying that everybody should run out and get divorced or everybody should stay together. I am no one's moral compass. Everybody needs to make up their own minds and do their own thing. But just the getting stagnant in your life instead of living the life that you want, working on the bucket list, it's such a waste, and time goes by so quickly. So I encourage everyone to get on their bucket list, make one, live one, work through it, come up with some different ideas, and spend time enjoying what they've been missing.
Totally agree. Those are the bucket lists.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
Before we go, because I know that time is of the essence, I wanted to say thank you.
The essence.
Yes. I wanted to say thank you to all the people that have supported us in the last almost month. I would like for you, if you can, to please like us and share us on Facebook. Also, you could join us on Amazon, Spotify, Google, Apple Podcast, Overcast, Chrome, Facebook, Alexa. Right now, we're at about 44 downloads. That's our average. We started on September 16th, so we're 18 days into it. And we're doing really well, but we could do better. So if you guys wouldn't mind, share us with your friends, and hopefully we could continue to grow and make this a weekly thing that sticks around for quite a while, because I've enjoyed doing it, and I know that the professor has too. And I thank you all for being supportive, because we've needed every single one of you guys.
Totally agree. And when you go to said format, the Apples, the Googles, the fun things like that, make sure you hit subscribe so we show up every time we upload a new video. I'm sorry, a new podcast. We do it every Wednesday. We want your help with show topics. So feel free to go to our Facebook page, throw something on there. Me and Tina listen. We're reading every day. We really want to make this work. We love you guys. It's super cool. And on that, what's your final thought?
And feedback, guys. If you could give us some feedback, I would really appreciate that. But that's all I have. Good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll do the final thought of the night. Bucket lists, I think, are super important. It's still the one way that we can get through life with some kind of goals that can be really small or really big. It gives us something to look forward to. Make sure you open up a little bit. It's time to live. And whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, or 80, live each and every day to its fullest. It's an amazing life as long as we continue to live. And with that, my dear, we're going to call this show the Bucket List Show. Everything's good. We'll see you in 1 week. I am the professor, and for my co-host, the lovely Tina, we will see you next week.